The interpretation that any receptacle installed in a kitchen for plug-in cord-connected appliances, including garbage disposal, dishwasher, trash compactor, and microwave installed over a range, must be on a 20 amp circuit, regardless of the appliance's rating, is not entirely accurate. The National Electrical Code, NEC, addresses this issue in Article 210.52c and d. Specifically, 210.52c states that in other than residential dwelling units, receptacle outlets installed in the kitchen shall be supplied by not less than 220 amp branch circuits. 210.52d states that in dwelling units, receptacle outlets installed in the kitchen shall be supplied by at least 120 amp branch circuit. However, the NEC does not require all appliances to be connected to a 20 amp circuit. The appliance's rating should be considered when determining the appropriate circuit breaker size. For example, a microwave installed over a range with a rating of 15 amps can be connected to a 15 amp circuit. NEC 210.21b3 defines small appliance branch circuit as a branch circuit supplying 2 or more receptacle outlets in the kitchen that serve countertop appliances. These circuits are typically rated at 15 or 20 amps. In conclusion, while all receptacle outlets in a kitchen require dedicated branch circuits as per NEC 210.52, the size of the circuit breaker should be appropriate for the load, including the rating of the appliances being connected. It is recommended to firstly follow the NEC requirements for providing dedicated branch circuits for kitchen receptacles. Secondly, use a circuit breaker size appropriate for the load, considering the rating of the appliance or appliances being connected. Thirdly, consult with a qualified electrician if any doubts arise regarding the interpretation of electrical codes. To delve deeper, let's further break down the electrical codes and their practical application in kitchen receptacle installations. We need to consider several factors, including the type of dwelling unit, the specific appliances being used, and the overall load calculation for the circuit. Let's explore NEC Article 210 in more detail. This article provides comprehensive guidelines for branch circuits, which are critical for ensuring safe and efficient electrical distribution in residential and commercial settings. Firstly, Section 210.11 addresses branch circuit requirements for dwelling units. It specifies the minimum number of branch circuits required based on the square footage of the dwelling. This calculation ensures that there are enough circuits to handle the anticipated electrical load without overloading any single circuit. Secondly, Section 210.12 discusses arc fault circuit interrupter or SI protection. SIs are designed to detect dangerous arc faults which can cause fires. The NEC requires SIs in many areas of the home, including kitchen circuits, to enhance safety. Thirdly, Section 210.19 covers the ampacity of branch circuit conductors. The conductors must be sized appropriately for the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse. This ensures that the wires can safely carry the intended load without overheating. Now, let's focus on the specific requirements for kitchen receptacles outlined in NEC 210.52. This section provides detailed guidance on the placement and type of receptacles required in kitchens. Firstly, 210.52 addresses wall countertop and work surface receptacle outlets. It mandates that receptacle outlets must be installed along the wall line of countertops and work surfaces so that no point along the wall line is more than 24 inches or 600 millimeters measured horizontally from a receptacle outlet. This requirement ensures that countertop appliances can be easily plugged in without the need for extension cords, which can be a safety hazard. Secondly, 210.52b focuses on island and peninsula countertop spaces. It requires at least one receptacle outlet for each island countertop with a long dimension of 24 inches, or 600 millimeters, or greater, and at least one receptacle outlet for each peninsula countertop with a long dimension of 12 inches, or 300 millimeters, or greater. These receptacles must be located within a certain distance from the countertop to be easily accessible. Thirdly, 210.52c, as previously mentioned, deals with receptacle outlets in kitchens of other than residential dwelling units. It requires that these outlets be supplied by not less than two 20-amp branch circuits. Fourthly, 210.52d, also previously mentioned, covers receptacle outlets in kitchens of residential dwelling units. It mandates that these outlets be supplied by at least one 20-amp branch circuit. These dedicated small appliance branch circuits are intended to serve countertop appliances and prevent overloading. Moving on to appliance ratings and circuit breaker sizing, it's crucial to understand how to properly match the circuit breaker to the appliance load. The NEC provides guidelines for this in Article 210.20, which covers overcurrent protection. Firstly, 210.20 states that branch circuit overcurrent protection must protect the circuit conductors, receptacles, and equipment. The overcurrent protection device, typically a circuit breaker or fuse, should be sized no larger than the ampacity of the circuit conductors. Secondly, 210.21 addresses the permissible loads on branch circuits. It specifies the maximum load that can be connected to a branch circuit based on its ampacity. For example, a 20-amp circuit can typically handle a continuous load of no more than 16 amps, which is 80% of the circuit's rating. Thirdly, when sizing circuit breakers for specific appliances, it's essential to consider the appliance's nameplate rating. The nameplate provides information on the appliance's voltage, amperage, and wattage. This information is used to calculate the appliance's current draw and select an appropriate circuit breaker size. For instance, if a microwave has a nameplate rating of 120 volts and 10 amps, it requires a circuit breaker that can handle at least 10 amps. However, it's generally recommended to use a slightly larger circuit breaker, such as a 15-amp breaker, to account for potential inrush current during startup. Furthermore, it's important to differentiate between general-purpose circuits and dedicated appliance circuits. General-purpose circuits supply power to multiple outlets and lighting fixtures, while dedicated appliance circuits are specifically designed to serve a single appliance. Dedicated appliance circuits are often required for high-demand appliances like refrigerators, dishwashers, and electric ranges. These circuits provide a reliable and stable power supply, minimizing the risk of overloading and voltage drops. In addition to the NEC, local electrical codes and regulations may also apply. These codes can vary depending on the municipality and may impose additional requirements or restrictions on electrical installations. It's essential to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that all electrical work complies with both the NEC and local codes. They can provide expert guidance on circuit breaker sizing, receptacle placement, and other electrical considerations. Remember, electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to hire a qualified electrician to perform any electrical installations or repairs. They have the knowledge, skills, and experience to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. By following the NEC requirements, considering appliance ratings, and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your kitchen receptacles and appliance circuits are safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. This will help prevent electrical hazards and ensure the reliable operation of your kitchen appliances. If you are dealing with older wiring in your kitchen, special considerations may be necessary. Older wiring may not be able to handle the increased electrical loads of modern appliances. It's important to have the wiring inspected by a qualified electrician to determine if it needs to be upgraded. Upgrading the wiring can involve replacing the existing wiring with new, high-capacity wiring, as well as installing new circuit breakers and receptacles. This can significantly improve the safety and reliability of your kitchen's electrical system. Another important aspect to consider is grounding. Grounding provides a safe path for electricity to flow in the event of a fault, protecting against electrical shock. All kitchen receptacles should be properly grounded. If you're not sure if your receptacles are grounded, you can use a receptacle tester to check. A receptacle tester is a simple tool that plugs into the receptacle and indicates whether it is properly wired and grounded. If a receptacle is not grounded, it should be replaced with a grounded receptacle or a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI receptacle. GFCIs are designed to detect ground faults and quickly shut off the power, preventing electrical shock. They are commonly required in kitchens and bathrooms, where there is a higher risk of exposure to water. When installing new kitchen receptacles, it's important to use tamper-resistant receptacles, especially if there are young children in the home. Tamper-resistant receptacles have a built-in safety mechanism that prevents children from inserting objects into the slots. This can significantly reduce the risk of electrical shock. In addition to the standard 120-volt receptacles, some kitchens may also have 240-volt receptacles for appliances like electric ranges and clothes dryers. These receptacles require special wiring and circuit breakers. It's important to never attempt to modify or alter these receptacles without the help of a qualified electrician. Doing so can be extremely dangerous and could result in electrical shock or fire. When choosing appliances for your kitchen, it's important to consider their energy efficiency. Energy-efficient appliances can save you money on your electricity bill and reduce your environmental impact. Look for appliances with the Energy Star label, which indicates that they meet strict energy efficiency standards. Finally, remember that electrical codes and regulations are constantly evolving. It's important to stay up to date on the latest changes and to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. By taking these steps, you can ensure that your kitchen's electrical system is safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. This will help protect your family and your property from electrical hazards. Another thing to be aware of is the placement of receptacles relative to water sources. The NEC specifies minimum distances that receptacles must be located from sinks, faucets, and other water sources. This is to prevent water from coming into contact with electrical components, which could cause electrical shock. It's also important to avoid overloading circuits. Overloading a circuit can cause the circuit breaker to trip, interrupting power to the appliances on that circuit. It can also overheat the wiring, which could lead to a fire. To avoid overloading a circuit, make sure that the total amperage of all the appliances plugged into the circuit does not exceed the circuit's capacity. If you are not sure how much amperage an appliance draws, you can check its nameplate rating or consult with an electrician. In some cases, it may be necessary to install additional circuits to accommodate the electrical loads in your kitchen. This is especially true if you have a lot of high-demand appliances or if you're planning to add new appliances in the future. Adding new circuits can be a complex and potentially dangerous task, so it's always best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work. They can assess your electrical needs, determine the appropriate number and size of circuits, and install them safely and correctly. When planning your kitchen layout, it's important to consider the placement of receptacles and appliances. Make sure that there are enough receptacles to accommodate all of your appliances without the need for extension cords. Also, consider the location of major appliances like refrigerators, dishwashers, and ranges. These appliances often require dedicated circuits and should be located near appropriate receptacles. It's also a good idea to have a few extra receptacles in convenient locations for small appliances like toasters, coffee makers, and blenders. These appliances are often used on countertops and should be easily accessible to a receptacle. In addition to receptacles, lighting is also an important consideration in the kitchen. Proper lighting can make it easier to see what you're doing while cooking and can also enhance the ambience of the space. Consider installing a combination of overhead lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting to create a well-lit and functional kitchen. Overhead lighting provides general illumination for the entire kitchen. Task lighting is focused on specific work areas, such as countertops and sinks. Accent lighting is used to highlight architectural features or decorative elements. When choosing lighting fixtures for your kitchen, make sure that they are suitable for use in a damp environment. Also, consider using energy-efficient lighting options like LED bulbs. LED bulbs are long-lasting, energy-efficient, and produce very little heat. They are a great choice for kitchens and other areas where lighting is used frequently. Another important safety feature to consider is a smoke detector. Smoke detectors should be installed in or near the kitchen to provide early warning of a fire. Make sure that the smoke detector is properly functioning and that the batteries are replaced regularly. It's also a good idea to have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen. Make sure that the fire extinguisher is the correct type for extinguishing kitchen fires and that you know how to use it properly. In the event of an electrical fire, never use water to put it out. Water can conduct electricity and could cause electrical shock. Instead, use a fire extinguisher that is specifically designed for electrical fires. If you experience any electrical problems in your kitchen, such as flickering lights, sparking outlets, or tripped circuit breakers, it's important to address them promptly. These problems could be a sign of a more serious electrical issue. Contact a qualified electrician to inspect your electrical system and make any necessary repairs. Ignoring electrical problems can be dangerous and could lead to a fire or electrical shock. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your kitchen's electrical system is safe, efficient, and functional. A well-designed and properly maintained electrical system will make your kitchen a more enjoyable and safe place to cook and spend time with your family. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electricity. If you're not comfortable performing electrical work yourself, hire a qualified electrician to do the job. They have the knowledge, skills, and experience to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly.